Hi, this is Brian Jones, and thank you for coming to listen to the Honest Business Report. I'm glad you are taking the time today to listen. I believe I have something very good for you to hear today, and I believe it will make the difference between you becoming a success or just being a person that dreams about success. I believe there are certain principles everyone needs to understand and to follow to make that difference, because sometimes there are things that we allow to get in our way in becoming a success. And so I want to share a principle that I just learned recently, to share with you that may help you cross that divide between actually dreaming about success and actually becoming a success. Now, I recently bought an excellent report from a gentleman by the name of Jim Straw. He lives down in Dalton, Georgia. And the report that he wrote was about how to get personal loans. And really, what he began to share in his book was how to get personal loans the right way. And he began to talk about how there are many myths and false statements out there, false information out there that instructs us on how to get personal loans. And his report was relatively short. It was only a few pages long, about 20 pages long. But the real reason for our instruction for you today is not so much about what he shared in that report, but about what he said in the foreword of his report. Because what he shared in the foreword really went beyond what he shared about personal loans. It really addressed everything about how we approach life and how we approach anything that we do, and how we can become successful at what we do, and making a distinction between dreaming about success and actually becoming a success. And so, as I said, what he says in the foreword applies to anything in life, and it's the reason most people fail and again only dream about success. So what I want to do for the next few minutes is begin to share with you exactly what he said in his foreword, because I believe, again, it will make a big giant difference for you and for me if we begin to understand and to apply exactly what he said. Now, here's what he said. He says, when you have learned that 2 plus 2 equals 4, you have gained a useful piece of, quote, information, unquote. When you have learned that 2 apples plus 2 apples equals 4 apples, but that 2 apples plus 2 oranges equals 2 apples and 2 oranges, or 2 pears of fruit, or 4 fruits, you have gained all important, quote unquote, knowledge. Now, information is nice to know. It lets you answer the questions on tests or when watching a TV game show. But until you learn to use that information in a practical application, it isn't knowledge. Any child of 2 or 3 years of age can tell you that 2 plus 2 equals 4. They have heard it repeated over and over until they can repeat it themselves. But when confronted with 4 apples, they are at a loss to apply that information. Now, the same holds true for older students and even adults who can readily tell you that Einstein's theory of relativity can be expressed by the formula E equals mc squared. But until they know what the E and the M and the C stand for and can use the formula in a practical application, it is only information. It's not knowledge. Now, a fine line exists between information and knowledge. And that fine line is nothing more than, quote unquote, use. You can memorize bits and pieces of information all day, every day. But until you actually use that information, it is not knowledge. Once used, though, information becomes knowledge and thereby power. Now, successful people, whether they be self-employed or wage earners, executive or common laborers, are seekers after knowledge. They absorb information from every direction. The information they can use becomes knowledge, while the information they have no apparent use for is simply stored on the chance that someday it may become useful. Now, unsuccessful people, on the other hand, claim to be seekers of knowledge, but they believe that knowledge itself can be imparted because the books they read, the courses they take, and the plans they buy contain only, quote, information, they are forever disappointed. Because it is only information, not the quote unquote knowledge they thought they were going to get. They never use the information, and thereby the knowledge they sought is lost to them forever. Now, Jim says, since I am an author of a great many books, booklets, reports, articles, and editorials about success and making and using money, somewhere over 300 so far, he says, those people stick out like sore thumbs on my customer list. They write me long letters detailing their trials and tribulations and explain to me just why the information won't work for them. But not one ever writes to say, I used the information and it didn't work. Had they ever used the information, that information would have turned into knowledge and they could have reaped the rewards they have coveted for so long. If there was a way I could, quote, force those people to use the information they have, I could literally guarantee their success. And in those few cases over the years where I have been able to shame or intimidate people into actually using the information I have provided, those people have achieved successes they had only dreamed were possible. Now, the rules of success used by successful people and businesses since the beginning of time have never really changed. Those rules have been written down for all to read, learn, and use. But they appear as information only and can only be changed to knowledge by use. If there were a way to force every person in every business to use those known and proven rules of success, there would be no unsuccessful people or businesses in the world. Statistically, 90% of small businesses fail, and 90% of people live a life of mediocrity, sustained mediocrity, simply because they will not use the information available to them. In your quest for financial independence, you must learn to force yourself to use the information you have at your disposal. No one but you is going to force you to assume that responsibility. Now, of course, some smart aleck reading this or listening to this is going to say, yeah, but I'm not going to use any bad information. Well, granted, there is bad or counterproductive information out there, but there is no way of telling good information from bad information until you try it. Judging the value of information without ever using it is like trying to judge the flavor of a pie without ever tasting it. So if you learn nothing else from this course or from what I'm sharing today, learn that information only becomes knowledge when you use it. And the information you have used or failed to use in the past is the reason you are where you are today. You can be your best friend or your worst enemy. No one forces you to be what you are or do what you do or don't do. What you have today is a direct result of what you did yesterday. And what you will have tomorrow will be a direct result of what you do or don't do today. It's up to you. And I want to say that one more time. It's up to you. So thanks for listening to this audio today. When you're done, this is going to take you to a website where I believe you can start to earn the kind of money that you need to earn. So I appreciate you listening to me. This is Brian Jones again, here at the Honest Businessman Report. Thank you.